Sunday. I don't know when this video is going out, but I'm doing a bit more on Pinkus, and it's as usual, everything that gets taken out gets put in a little baggie and where it is, and then it just makes it easier when it comes to putting it together again. Together with that, take lots and lots of photos of where the wiring is, cable routing, all that lot. So I've just moved the tripod and we'll just see. So what I'm doing today is I'm taking this front end off. The engine is still in with one bolt at the back, just to support it for the minute. And when we've got this front end off, we can start taking the loom out. Once the loom's out, front end's out, can then finish dropping the engine, and we'll basically have a bare frame. So that's what I'm going to do today. Nice. Oh, that sounds good. Now with naked bikes, a lot of the wiring loom can be in the headlight bowl, and it's nearly always a pain in the arse to cram it all back in again. Let's move you around so we can see. There we go, as usual, expert film production skills. Right, that should now come off. Famous last words. And we'll see how many families of spiders we disturb. Yeah, not bad. A little bit of a spider's nest, but you can see a lot of the forward loom, which normally on a sports bike is hidden in the fairing, on a naked bike is hidden in the bowl. It's all colour coded. Most bike wiring, especially Japanese, is all colour coded. I say you can't really get it wrong. There's always a potential, obviously, but usually you can't get it wrong. And this is the side light and headlight. That'll just come out, and that's handy because the side light just disconnects. That's a new one. Nice. Connectors look good. Doesn't look to be any corrosion. Headlight will be put somewhere safe. I'm joking. Right. Let's start here. Alright. Dim 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 dim. Oh Christ, Rolf Harris is back. As usual, the wiring looms get a bit stiff with age. I mean, you can warm them up with a heat gun when you put them back in. What car manufacturers do when they're fitting looms, and I've done this before with smaller looms, is stick them in the oven. As daft as it sounds, stick them in the oven, fairly low heat, and it's just enough to get all this soft and pliable. And then while it's still warm, you can route it where you like, and you severely lessen the risk of breaking a wire or something like that. So let's get started and start getting these undone. Hopefully they'll all be good. If there's not been a tiny bit of corrosion in that one, only a little bit, a bit of WD will sort that out. I mean, that's really good, really. And you know, to be fair, in its life, other than changing the headlight bulb, there's no other reason to come in here. not bad, look. They're pretty good. These individual bullet connectors, quite often these aren't attached very well anyway, but yeah, good. And if these break, these are no problem to repair. That one's in well, that one's a bit dry. I mean, that's the thing, they're going to be dry more than anything. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got all this stuff. Yeah, see, this is just rust that it's caught off the bowl. It's there's no breaks in the insulation or anything. That one's good. All these will go back together with a bit of dielectric grease in there, or some WD, either or. I've got rusty nuts. Last two. Yeah, they're good. Certainly a lot better condition than the GS wiring was in. That was awful. That had all the ignition wiring on that went into the headlight and whatever was all quite severely corroded. But again, as I said, it's a component that you rarely get in there. So there we go. That's the wire loom one done. Now we've got to do is I'm going to undo the bowl, and it makes it easier for the wiring to be pulled out. So we'll do that next. Get my Allens. That looks like, I don't know whether that's captive, you see. It doesn't look like it, and they're usually not. But this is seeing better days. I think this will have to be sandblasted. Oh look, here's a friend. Headlight friend. Today's beverage of choice, strawberry milkshake. Oh yeah. There we go. I think this is going to be. I've got a sandblasting gun which I'm going to whip out when everything's stripped down, and not bad. That'll probably polish up actually, and the inside we'll sandblast and we'll give it a coat of paint and shit like that. But now at least we can start stripping back the loom, start getting all. Would help if you can see, couldn't it? I'm speaking quietly because it's silly o'clock on Sunday morning. You know, it's not even time for morning rum. But yeah, but that's gives us access to all this now. Nice. Expert levels of camera. Why have you put a different size fastener on that, Mr. Honda? It'll be that one. It's that one. Don't you love the click of a ratchet? I do. What isn't so nice is this. But it ain't half quick. Right, that can go. Gravity in the bag. So that is the right hand mount. I'm going to be moving you around a lot by the looks of it. And God knows what this is going to look like in an edit. Here's my bag of baggies. Right, so that is right hand. Very good. Nice. That could be a candidate for polishing as well. Nice. And what I'll do, I'll repeat the other side, and I'll bring you back when I've stripped it down a bit more. So there you go. Looks a little bit different now. Got all that off. Pretty easy. Got the handlebars off. You mustn't forget, the majority of motorbikes will have, if your handlebars mount round the fork, obviously some bolt to the headstock and some clamp to the fork. If it clamps to the fork, it will nearly always have a little security ring there which you'll need to move, which are now safe. I'm now in the process of removing the ignition, and these, sometimes these are security bolts, and they need to be ground off, but these are a Torx and they're thread locked in. You can just see, focus you fuck, the old thread lock there, so they're going to fight me every thread of the way. Right, the battery light's flashing, so I don't know how long I've got, but major job accomplished today. As you can see, we've got the engine here. Right, now excuse me Vicky, we'll start again. I've got 3 GoPros and their built-in obsolescence is probably worse than iPhone and everybody else, Microsoft, the lot. I've got 3 GoPros and the only thing that's compatible between all 3 of them are the mounts and the SD cards. That's it. That's it. I've got a microphone which only plugs into one, and the only adapter available for that you have to buy from GoPro, and it's 80 quid. I'm getting really fucked off with GoPro because the trouble is they're really handy, they're portable obviously, but they've got you by the bollocks and I don't like that. But as you can see, major milestone, the power operation unit is separate from the stability unit. It's all stripped down. I've been waiting ages to get this far, I just haven't had the chance. Biscuit and beverage. Yes, that says Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fan. Deal with it. So yeah, so So now that's a major milestone reached. It means by separating everything, it's now a lot easier to paint strip stuff, sandblast stuff. I'm going to try and get this front cradle off. I don't know if you can even see it because I'm using my little session and it hasn't got a preview screen, so just in case I'll just turn it around a little bit. I need to get this front cradle off, and it's probably the most rusted part on the bike because obviously it catches all the crap. So that's going to be fun. It will either come off or it won't. Hopefully with a little bit of sympathetic heat and my new large hickory handled hammer. Try saying that when you're pissed. It'll come out. But now what we need to do, minimum jobs for the engine, is to I'm running away on my stool, is to obviously paint strip it or sandblast it or whatever, and paint it. The inside of it's spotless, absolutely spotless, and obviously it's a good chance to check all the valve clearances, and obviously when it goes back in it'll have a full service. But we're going to have to decide what we're going to do with the covers, whether we're just going to paint them, you know, as they are, or whether Mrs. Shed would like them polished. She's got a polishing kit actually, she can do a really good polish, because I think the forks would look good polished. It's just the maintenance of the shine basically. There's not much on the other side. You could polish the cases, but half the covers are plastic, so they're not going to look right. I mean, the covers on the cover on this side is that plastic, so it's not going to polish anyway. So it's probably going to look out of place polished. Painted will probably be best. And I've got a runny nose because my hay fever has been terrible this week. It's been really bad. So we're on a milestone, and do you know what? I'm not joking. I think the frame's heavier than the engine, which would be a first. That I seem to be able to handle that no trouble at all. That, the bulk of the weight is obviously in the lower half, but at the minute it's still a right handful. But obviously the headstock's got to come out. That weighs a fair bit. Main stand and stuff, I've got to figure out how to get that out. I've just took the side stand off actually, and there's nothing, even in the Honda service manual, to tell you how to take that side stand off. And it turns out there's like a rotary side stand switch with an 8mm bolt, so you take that off and the switch slides off. I was going to film it, but it takes 4 times as long. I'm going to crack on today. So I took that off, and then behind that there's a 14mm bolt which actually holds the stand on, and then obviously there's a nut on the other end of the bolt. But all that was simple enough. The stand's off, the spring's off. It all requires a very, very deep degreasing. In fact, I might dunk it in some gunk and then put it in the aqua jiggler. I mean, there's a lot of bits that can go in the aqua jiggler, but it's but yeah, milestone reached. I'm a very happy bunny, because it means I can just, you know, come in when I fancy, do a bit. Nothing's going to hurt now. I've got to obviously get the studs out because we had several break. And I'm going to turn you around again. You don't want to be looking at me, do you? I'm going to get the studs out, so I'm going to get a stud extractor for that. Hopefully liberal coatings of a penetrating oil. Brand name as yet undecided, but they're not a sponsor. Liberal coatings will help with that. If not, we're going to have to go down the drilling them out route. It's simple as that. And then we'll fit steel ones, stainless steel ones, stainless steel nuts. I don't like the idea of putting exhaust on with bolts. I just don't like the idea of that. I much prefer a stud and a nut. Bolts would be easier. So I don't know yet. Sometimes you don't. It sounds stupid, but sometimes you don't have room for a bolt, but you do for a nut, if that makes sense. No, Jim, nothing you say makes sense. Anyway, so that's where we are. So I'll probably. I'm all shit up. Again, I put clean clothes on this morning. I have got a set of overalls, but because I'm a child who's very excitable, I didn't put the overalls on, and I'm shit up again. Let's just get this little bolt down here for the cover. But yeah, I've bagged everything. but we've made brilliant progress today. I'm really happy. But as you can see, let me just take you out of the mountage and mountage. There's the engine. Ooh, yeah. Look, you all know what a bloody engine looks like. But and this is biscuit. This is the frame, so the headstock's going to come off. I'm talking through a biscuit, which is incredibly rude. I've got to finish just separating the wiring loom from the frame and the main stand from the frame, and then that can go through the procession of being degreased. I've got a sandblasting gun, so I'm going to give it a go, and if it's not working like I should, I'm just going to have to put hands in pockets when the money's available and just get it sandblasted. I mean, there's some really good places around Warwickshire and Leicestershire that for a living you know, blast and spray frames for not a lot of money. Same for wheels. The wheels and forkages are there, and something's got to be done with them because the polish is gone. I don't know whether she lacquered them when she polished them, but Kat did those and she did a good job of them. I can remember seeing them when I first met Kat and they were nice and shiny. But yes, something needs to be done with that. I might make her just get her fingers dirty and she can redo them again, because the tyres have got to come off. The tyres are no good anyway, so they need new tyres anyway. So, you know, the wheels are going to have to be stripped down. Exhaust, radiator, etc. is all down there. They're all fine. Exhaust is probably just going to need a bit of a scrub up with a wire wheel. Everything else is in compost corner over there. All the large parts, because a lot of it at the minute doesn't need stripping. The main job is the corrosion on the frame, and it's not super bad, but it needs addressing. I mean, there's areas like this, like that, crusty. They just need attention, basically. You know, I don't think there's anything pretty terminal on it by the looks of it. And of course, all down the bottom end where you get the chain grease and all that lot, that's all going to be pristine under that. But there's another bit. God, I'm stretching too much. There's another bit, and it's just where it's held the water. That's all it is. But it just also gives me a chance to clean the bench. That's just half the crap that's come off the bike, but it's a good idea now and a good opportunity to scrape all that crap up, degrease the bench, because obviously we need a fairly clean surface to start digging into the engine, taking covers off, to paint strip them, etc. That one was for Rob, and it's about time, Rob, that you put some more content on YouTube. You know, I know you're a busy lad, but come on, chop chop, we all need something to watch. So yeah, so I'm really happy. I'm glad I've got this far, basically, because I've just noticed there's a massive fingerprint on the lens. Hang on, I can't believe this biscuit's lasted this long. Look at that. You never get that on the BBC, do you? So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. It was just progress on Pinky, because I spoiled you, because she had a video the other day as well. Yeah, that'll be it till I've got something else to film, basically. I need to have a word with Uncle Steve, who's in the Isle of Man at the minute. Well, he should be coming back this weekend, because he's going to MOT Slinkle Pink, get Slinkle Pink back on the road, and then I need to put new dampers on the rear of Rosie, and it's improved it no end, obviously, but it's just shown how bad the front is. So before we go away in September, ideally I want to try and source some, get some front dampers made up, because the pre-made ones that are on Rimmers aren't suitable for the diesel. They're only for the 1800, allegedly. I don't know, I'm going to have to ring them and ask them. If not, discount MG Rover, and I'll order the bits and I'll have Uncle Steve make them up for me, because I'm nice like that. And yeah, so that's it for now. Suppose it's time to finish my biscuit. So thank you for watching. I don't know why you do, but a lot of you do. And actually, it keeps saying you can, if you put anything on YouTube, there's an analytics button. Christ, I pronounced that correctly. I'm amazed. And you can see how much traffic you get. And it's always consistent that like well above 90% of my traffic actually comes from Google searches, which is scary. Just what are people looking for?